As a child, the only goals that I remember having in life was trying to make it through the day without being bullied or without seeing my dad. Literally, I didn't even want to be around him because he was scary, he was unpredictable. And probably the other most predominant goal that I had was getting enough food, being able to make it to bed that night without having that seemingly ever-present gnawing hunger pain in the pit of my stomach. I may have had a few dreams of writing or being a teacher. I know I always wanted to be a mother. And then as a teenager, I was given a guitar, and I did always love music. And for a while, I had a dream. I wrote songs, and I had a dream of being a singer. And although I wrote more songs later on for church and sang at church, I never really pursued my dream. And looking back, I have to wonder if I had pursued it, how far I could have gone. But I also know where I was emotionally and how broken I was, it probably would have been the worst path for me. I probably would have ended up being one of those ones who, OD'd on drugs one day and was found dead. But my life was basically survival. If I could find a job, find a place to live, I was doing good. I did go back to an adult school and get my high school diploma, but to go to college, I remember one day I signed up for a college course, and I went one day and I was like, I can't do this. I had no belief in my ability or in myself to be able to, and really probably not the mental capacity at that age to even be able to absorb that type of information. I hadn't received an education. I moved every year of my life. I changed schools all the time. I was in survival mode my whole life. I couldn't concentrate in school. The man I fell in love with basically didn't have goals for himself either. He had just settled into this life, and he invited me into it, and we've been together ever since. It was frustrating over the years because I wanted to have goals, but because we had never been, either one of us had never been goal-oriented or didn't really know how to sit down and work together to create goals for ourselves, our life has just been about making it day to day. If we were fed and had clothes and had a roof over our head and were safe, then we felt grateful. The ultimate goal to me ended up being, especially because I was raised in a home that was in a fundamentally based religion, that everything was, black and white, and God was there, and you either pleased God or you didn't please God. You're pleasing the devil. I ended up finding, a religion that I felt was very Bible-based, and I subscribed to that. I had already, felt like I had a spiritual transformation before I ever went there. But I subscribed to that religion, and my goal in life from that point was I just had one simple, solitary goal, and that was to make it to heaven. That worked for me for a while. There were so many times that I felt completely like almost this bliss. It's hard to explain of, okay, I'm safe, I'm okay, I'm going to heaven. Yet the whole thing was such a struggle because it was all about staying saved and staying right before God and making sure you were thinking right and reading the right, not doing anything or letting anything into your life that might cause you to go away from God and then lose this goal, this ultimate goal, and end up being more miserable than you ever knew you could possibly be. And let me tell you, that was frightening, especially with what I had already experienced in life. I stayed with that faithfully, and I served, and I did a lot of work in that church. Almost 18 years. And toward the end, I was just depressed, and I knew it. I couldn't figure it out. I knew it had its roots down in my childhood and the things I'd been through. And I went through therapy for a while, and I made some progress. But I realized every time I went back to church, they were reinforcing these messages that were detrimental to my emotional health and that I had received as a child. They just reinforced that. It was judgment. It was, making sure you cross all your T's and dot all your I's, and always checking yourself and always making sure that you're good enough for God. So one day I just decided I'm not going back. And I always say it was probably the most courageous thing that I ever did. I was like this cage. I was in this cage, and I'd been told for almost 18 years that if you walk out of that cage, you're going to be devoured. You're basically going to hell. So it was scary. And even after I left, it took a good 2 years to be able to overcome that fear and that brainwashing. So now I'm out here and trying to make a new life, trying to make new connections with people. And again, I see this message that has been force-fed, it feels like, my whole life. And this message that's out there in society, it just takes different forms. It was in the church, but it's also all throughout society. And that is that I have to do something more. I have to be something more. I am not good enough the way I am. If you want to be loved, if you want to be successful, if you want to be valuable, you need to be more than you are today. And the insanity of this is that no matter what you do or how much you accomplish, that message is still just beyond. There's still just a little bit more you need to do. And you're always thinking that if I just get here, if I just hit this goal over here, we're such a goal-oriented society, and if I just hit this goal, then I'll have it all. I will be happy. I will have the money. And yeah, I know money doesn't buy happiness, but boy, what will it buy that will make me feel happy for a while? Depression is an epidemic right now. People are committing suicide at record rates and on depression medication. People are not happy. They're depressed. My therapist once told me that depression is you pressed down, and I never forgot that. And every time I start to feel depressed, I now ask myself, where am I pressing myself down? My goal now is to make the rest of my life the best of my life. And I called my business High Vibes Life, because I came to understand that everything is energy, and that, when you're in a higher vibe and a higher energy, then you attract better things into your life. And I do believe and understand all that, the law of attraction, But I've also come to realize that making the rest of my life the best of my life has so much more to do with accepting exactly who I am, where I am, what I've done, what I haven't done, accepting life exactly as it is, and entering into the moment and finding the joy in the now. What do I want to do in this very moment? What feels good to me? What makes me feel happy and fulfilled and complete inside? What makes me feel that magical feeling that we're all looking for? What gives that to me? And nothing about the future, no idea in the future brings that magical feeling to me. It is only found in the moment. Wait, I need to lose weight. I need to have more money in my bank account. There are things that I still want. There's still a lot that, if I was just looking at it from the paradigm that our society and our culture has set up through centuries, then I would actually just have to look at myself and say, you're not successful. And when I'm looking at it from that paradigm, and I say that to myself, you still need to lose weight, you still need to make more money, you need to have a better job, you need to do this, you need to do that, you didn't do this right, you should have done that better, you could have done this way back then. Damn, no wonder why, depression hits. When you're constantly being fed this message, no matter what you do, that it's not enough and you're not enough and you need to do better, It is no wonder that people disconnect from one another because they don't want to be judged like that. So they disconnect from people so that they don't have to have that in their environment and around them. So they have that disconnection, and then they feel depressed and like they're hiding, and because we need that connection. But we can't have that connection when we're judging. Like Mother Teresa said, if you're judging one another, you have no time to love one another. You have no time to truly connect. And the only reason that we judge somebody else is because we've bought into that message that we need to be more. We cannot truly be of any value or be very valuable, be worth attention or true connection or true admiration or true anything unless, we've taken our talent and hit the stars with it. I think goals can be valuable when it's something that you truly want to accomplish and you have a good why behind it, because you just want to experience that. You want to know what it's like. You want to have that experience, but you know that that's not the end. And that's not what life is. It's not being rich. It's not having this super body. It's not having a super mind. It's an experience. And I think if we can grasp that and understand that life is about experience, and experience is what helps us to grow and to learn and to expand and to become more than what we were yesterday. And that expansion is going to be different for every person. In our society, we try so hard to say, I'm being an individual, I'm being myself, I'm expressing myself. When everywhere we turn, we have culture telling us, well, in order to be yourself, or in order to be seen, or in order to still be valued for that, you still need to niche yourself down. You need to do this, you need to look like this, you need to act like this, you need to reach out to this type of people, blah, 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 blah. To a point where, again, you just start to lose yourself. And people can follow these paths that they're being led down, and they can reach certain financial goals or certain goals that they have set up for themselves and feel like they've been successful. But ultimately, did it give them what they really, really are looking for? And that is the magic of the moment, the magic of life, the magic of experiencing where we are right now to its fullest. It takes courage to recognize that you're in a cage, that you've been brainwashed, and to walk out of that cage and say, I'm not going back there, I'm not listening to that message anymore. It takes a lot of guts, it takes a lot of courage to face what everybody said is going to be the big snake or lion or tiger outside of that cage. And in my case with church, it was the devil and hell. But these cages are everywhere. They're not just in churches, they're everywhere. Some will say it is poverty, it is social disgrace. There's just so many things that people say are outside of cages that they have people inside of that feel trapped and feel like they can never get out of. Yet the door is wide open. But it takes some courage, it takes some guts to walk outside of it. And when you do walk outside of it, you're going to walk out trembling. And you are going to sit there for a while and wonder when the hammer is going to come down or when the sky is going to fall. But ultimately, when you get outside that cage, you're going to sit there and you're going to think, thank God, I'm free. So I guess my perspective from where I'm at in life right now is that this epidemic of depression has everything to do with being such a driven, goal-oriented society, causing people to separate themselves from who they truly are at their core, or what they truly love and truly want to do with their lives and want to experience in life, and feel like they can't that they have to wait until they've jumped through enough hoops to prove themselves that they're valuable enough to get the money or the prestige or whatever they're looking for, to be able to enjoy now, to relax and enjoy and be who they are and not worry about it. The thing is, I truly believe you cannot walk down the path of misery and end up at a happy place. You've got to start now to say, I'm going to start walking down the path of happiness and self-fulfillment and freedom. I'm going to get out of that cage and I'm going to start choosing the path that I want to walk down according to my heart's desire, not according to the pressures of society. Is that easy? I don't think so. Is it worth it? I know so.